Hi, and thanks for joining me. I'm Coleen Watchorn, and we are going to be painting an abstract or a modern art painting. We're going to do it together. Now, I don't normally teach this, especially not in video form, because abstract can be very difficult for some people, mainly because you have to think for yourself. You have to think creatively. You kind of have to have an idea of what you want, and that can be difficult. So what I've chosen today is one that we can do together, but there's lots of room and lots of options for you to make it your own and make it personal. So I hope you enjoy it, and hopefully it's a painting that you can proudly hang in your house, and make sure that you tailor the colors of your painting to your house so that you can do that. Now, you are gonna, if you bought a kit from the La Brokerie, I don't know what it's called, Leisure Community Club. These are the colors that are going to come with it. Now, a couple of tricks. Again, if you want to hang this in your home and you have, let's say, some gray walls or blue walls or a color in your house that you've painted a wall that you love, you can use that house paint. So if you have some colors, go grab them, use them. You don't have to stick with this, okay? I've chosen these because we can create some really nice neutral tones with this. We're going to stick with mostly grays. We're going to do a little bit of blue and then a yellow, just a yellowy kind of color as our focal point color, okay? So here we go. We are going to start by mixing our colors. Now, normally we wouldn't mix all of them, but I do want to kind of see how they work together for this painting. So I want you to have lots of room, a big plate or a big piece, even an old canvas you can use, lots of mixing room. Now we're going to mix small batches to start because I want to make sure we love the color, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple of piles of white here. Now I already know what the colors are going to do, so I can make it a little bit more, but I'm going to start with this. Now we are going to want about 3 to 4 different shades, different colors for our background in this piece. You can do more if you want, but let's try to stick with about 4. And I'm going to start with these ones. So one of my grays is going to be a dark gray. I already know that, so I'm not going to mix that one. My next one is going to be a bit of a blue gray, and it's going to be lighter. So I'm going to take a little tap of my blue, give it a little spin, okay, and then I'm just going to take a little tap of my black, give it a little spin, and I don't want this to be very dark, so you're going to notice I'm not taking a lot at one time. Otherwise, you end up using all your white in basically one color, and that's kind of pointless. You don't want to do that. Now, this is exactly the color I was hoping for. Just a very nice, beautiful, neutral, grayish blue color. That's exactly what I was looking for. Now, the other color I want to do is a little bit more blue-green. So I'm going to take another tap of blue, throw that into the second pile, and then I'm just going to take a little tap of yellow. And again, I'm trying to create very subtle colors. This is not a dramatic, in-your-face painting. It is supposed to be soft and subtle. Oh, that's pretty. Now here, even on your plate, you can see how the colors work together. Knowing I'm going to have a dark gray yet and another color, that makes me happy. I like this combination. So this is going to be what I'm using. Again, don't use a color you don't like. So if you're mixing a color and you do not like it, don't go with it. Either start again or keep adding a drop of each color at a time until you get it just right. Really, the color is the most important part of this painting. So if you don't have something you like, don't use it. That's pointless. All right, my brush, since I have this color on here and it's fully loaded, remember I'm going to make that dark gray after, is I'm going to start with this one. Now, I do know that my focal point is going to be right about here. Okay, so I know that I'm going to have a nice bright color right here. Now, normally when you have a focal point in any painting, it's where the lightest and the darkest meet. So I know I'm going to use my dark gray somewhere in this area, and then I'm going to use my focal point color, okay? So that means this color is just going to be a nice accent color, and I'm actually going to kind of use it off to the side and maybe right about here. And we're going to deal with very simple, not necessarily shapes, but that it's going to be very simple, clean lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a very simple shape. Very, very modern. This is nothing busy. Keep your edges, these edges nice and clean and crisp. Okay, you don't want to have them too messy. Pick up that paint. Now for you guys, make sure that when you're wrapping it around, or that when you hit a side, you wrap the color around, even if it just follows the lines, okay? Oops, get paint on there. Wrap it around so it looks really neat and tidy from all edges. That way if you hang it up without framing, it looks good. So as you can see, it's not really a shape, it's just there. Again, this is kind of where it gets difficult because you have to kind of be creative and thinking. Now I do want to use this color one more spot because I just think it's really pretty. And I'm going to maybe do just a small one here. I'm going to maybe paint over some of it. I'm going to do a little bit of a different shape here. Again, it's modern art, so it's not like you have to be thinking of anything, which is nice. You can kind of zone out, paint, enjoy the process. There we go. All right. So that is color number 1 done. I will not be needing that color. Wash it out of my brush. Next, I'm going to switch to that light gray that I made. Now I didn't make very much of it. I'll just start with it, but I think I'm gonna have to make a little more because I know I'm gonna probably need it. So I'm just gonna quickly make a little more, a little tap of black. There we go, okay. So it's that blue-gray color. Remember, at this point, if you have a house color that you love, you'll just be doing this with those colors. Now I really wanna have a nice big area of gray over here somewhere, and probably over there, so I'm gonna go like this. Let's see, I'm gonna follow that line slightly and maybe come down. Remember, this is where you gotta be creative. Sometimes that can be hard. And I might tweak the shapes as I'm painting them in, but at least. Now I am gonna use the white of the canvas as a little bit of a neutral here. So you'll notice that I'm not going to be overlapping a whole lot. That's because I want that white to be a big part of this painting. I'm going to pull it down. How fun is this, eh? Looks kind of like a gourd. Maybe that's not the right shape. Oh, that's okay. All right, I have a little bit of this blue-gray left, so I'm going to use it. Let's go right here. There we go. Now I might not have enough, but we'll try. If you're struggling to get the edges crisp, a tiny bit of water on your brush, mix it into your paint, and that'll help just give you a nice, clean, crisp edge. If you make a mistake or it gets a little out of the lines like that, you can always go back after with white paint and just touch up those little parts. Okay, but I'm gonna run out, so I'm just gonna make a tiny bit more here. This is always tricky. I should have made enough to start with. There we go. Perfect. Look at that. I love these neutral colors. It's really pretty. All right, so I've got my grays. Now I really like this neutral gray, but I think I'm gonna make a gray that doesn't have the blue in it. Just one more light gray. I'm gonna take another scoop of white. I washed my brush in between just a little bit. And you're just gonna notice a little tone difference in this gray. So here I'm gonna do it, let's see. Just gonna go like this. See that? Look at the very different tone. I'm gonna go around this guy. I love doing abstract. That is definitely my passion. This is definitely, the simplicity of this painting is really appealing. Very minimalistic, very modern. Sometimes when we're doing paint night paintings, they're always, you know, landscape, quite a lot of color. That's not always what we want to hang in our house, even though they're fun to paint. So this one, my hope is that it's something that you'll proudly hang up. Okay, one more. I think we need one more spot with this light gray, just a little one. So I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to overlap just a little bit. Look at that. I don't have a ton of paint, so I'm just going to make a small one. And I like that you can see that through there, that you could see the underneath through there. That layering effect is really cool to me, so I'm happy with that. There we go. You might even decide to let layers dry in between before painting over them. That's not a bad idea. All right, I like that. Okay, now for my dark gray. Now it wouldn't have to be a dark gray. You could also make a dark blue if you love blue. So you could take your blue and you could take a touch of black and you could make a really dark blue color like this. You could add a little bit of white to it. So you could definitely go with those kind of tones as well. That would look really pretty. Actually, it does look really pretty. Now I'm tempted to do that. All right, well in your world you could do a dark gray or you can do a dark blue. I'm kind of digging that color, so you know what? I think I'm gonna go with it. This is the joys of abstract art. You're gonna figure it out as you go. So I'm gonna make a little bit more of that. Obviously, if you're doing a dark gray, it's just gonna be white and black. All right, so that's not a difficult thing to mix, but I really do love this color. So I did it like this, nice and dark, and then you're gonna take a little bit of white, lighten it up. The reason I'm lightening it, one is if it's too dark, when I come in after with some black, because we are going to be using some black, I don't want it to be too much of the same value, okay? So if I use a really dark gray and it's very close to black, it's going to actually take away from some of the cool effects that we're putting on at the end. So make sure that you don't make it too dark, okay? You just want it to be the darkest shade of your background. All right. So I do know somewhere in this area is where my focal point going to be. So I am going to, let's see, I'm going to start my dark color. Okay, I'm really happy I switched to this color. And I'm going to overlap just slightly like this. And I do like having that little bit of white in between, if I can keep it. Now, I don't love this shape, so I'm going to keep altering this until I'm happy with it. There we go. I really like this color. And again, it's quite a neutral color, even though it's a color, right? It's still pretty neutral, so I like that. And make sure, especially with these dark colors, you really clean up those edges. Keep them nice and clean. There we go. Okay, now I want to do another area or two with this dark color, especially here. So it doesn't have to be big shapes. You can go a little smaller if you want, but I do want, let's see, I think I'm going to copy this shape here, but do it a little smaller. Like that. Let's see how that looks. Having a steady hand is very useful. Now, one thing I will say, you might be tempted to sketch things out before you start this. Pencil, if you paint over pencil with acrylic paint, you can't erase it after, so if it's shining through, which it might be in some of these light colors, it's maybe not such a good idea. Rather use the color. So you just very lightly kind of sketch your things with the color itself. You'll probably be a little bit happier with then seeing a bunch of pencil lines everywhere. Okay, I'm gonna do one down here as well. Again, just maybe a thin one. Keeping in mind the white canvas is also a color. That's part of the color. I think I'm gonna square this one off. You'll notice that it's not perfectly straight up and down. I'd like to say that that was on purpose, but it doesn't have to be. You can make it crooked too. I don't know how crooked that is. That's not that crooked, is it? I don't think it is. All right. Now I'm gonna because I need this area to dry, I'm gonna take this color, and actually I'll add a little bit more black, and I'll make that dark gray I was talking about. I'm just gonna do something fun with it. Now again, this is where creativity comes in, and just deciding how much you want and how little you want. You can go crazy with a painting like this, and you can have the entire background covered up, or you can keep it very minimalist. You can do a lot with, let's say you have bubble wrap. You could paint the bubble wrap with a color and stick it on there and get some really, really cool textures and designs going on in the background. Really, the sky is the limit here. This is just the beginning bones of your painting. You could take it to wherever you want. Again, I like the minimalistic side of it, so I'm keeping it quite simple. But I will show you a couple little things. So one is you can take your brush. I'm using a flat brush, so it'll give me nice little shapes. And you can go like this and just create little shapes like that. Again, it's not about perfection, it's more minimalist. You could do little dots, I guess. I kind of like the simplicity of that, so I'm probably gonna just repeat that right about here. And I'm just pushing the brush down, just barely giving it a little push, okay? And let's see, how about we just add one more? Because I know this is my bright spot, I'm gonna add one right here. I'm just gonna add a little line. So we did end up using, what is that, 5 colors in the background? I think so. All right, there we go. What do you think? Is that enough? Again, you could keep adding, but you haven't seen the finished product yet, I guess, so let me finish it up and then you can decide. All right, now we're gonna let this dry because the color we're using for our focal point is quite light, and I want it to kind of be in this area, and I don't want it to mix with any of these. So this is a great stopping point to just let it dry. Give it about 10 minutes. It dries pretty quick. Wash your brushes out, and you can, at this point, even decide what your focal point color is going to be. Mine is going to be a nice light yellow, because I think that's really going to make everything pop. But again, it's up to you. You can make a lime green if you wanted. You can make, what else could you make? You could make, you could even do it black. You'll see why I'm not in a second, but there's a lot of options for you. So I'm gonna let this dry and I will come right back. All right, welcome back. All right, we're gonna do our focal point color. Now, we took a little break to let this dry, and it was decided over the break, my daughter and I discussed it, and I think lime green is the color I'm gonna go with. So I'm gonna make that. Again, choose a color. It needs to be nice and bright, definitely brighter than what you've got going here. So if it's just yellow with some white in it, that's fine. I'm just gonna take a tiny tap of blue and add it, and look how quickly you get a beautiful lime green. Isn't that awesome? That's a fun one. Yeah, so I'm gonna just make a little more so I don't run out. Now, my focal point shape in this one is a circle. Okay, so for me, that is, my circle is gonna go right here. Now, if you're gonna struggle with making a circle and you want a circle, find anything in the house that you can trace and just trace it out really lightly with a pencil. I'm gonna wing it just because I'm gonna wing it, but I promise it won't be a great circle, okay? Just don't judge me on that. I've got my beautiful bright lime green color. And I'm gonna start now. One trick with circles is always make it a little smaller than what you want. That gives you wiggle room to correct it. And I wanna make sure that it really intersects with some of these dark colors. So I'm gonna go like this. I'm hoping it's dry enough that it doesn't pick up too much of the paint underneath. You do want it to be nice and dry for that, but you do want it to be see-through like that. That's the cool look I wanted. So you're still seeing those dark, see that underneath? I like that. Now again, it's not gonna be perfect, and that's okay. Just go around. That's perfect enough for me. Look at that, you can kind of see through it. You can see the background. It adds this element of depth, which I really like. You can make it, again, yellow, bright. You can do black if you want as well, but I do really like that color. Now, most of the time in any art, you want whatever color you want it to reflect somewhere else. You want to see it somewhere else. So I'm just going to take a little bit, and just kind of like I did there, I'm just going to pick a couple of spots just to bring that color in just there, and maybe, let's see, how about here? There. So it just draws your eye around a little bit more. That went a little goopy on me, but that's okay. There we go. Yep, I like that. Very simple. Remember, this is minimalist. You don't need to go crazy with anything. Now the fun part, here we go. We're going to be using black right over top of everything, and that can be a little intimidating. So you are being given a small brush and you're going to have a larger brush. I'm going to stick with my larger brush because I just find it easier, but if you are a detail person, go ahead and use that. We are going to do some leaves, branches. It's going to be up to you. I'm going to probably demonstrate two different kinds for you. I'm going to do a palm frond type thing and maybe one with some leaves, just to show you the difference. What we're going to do first is we're going to actually take a little bit of water in our brush, and you want to water down the black paint, not so that it's like watercolor, like you don't want it to drip down your plate, but you do want it to be nice and inky and smooth. You're going to get a nice smooth line that way. If you don't water it down just a little bit, you're going to really struggle with these smooth lines, okay? Now a couple of other things, because we really want one smooth go at it. The way I would do it is if you are on an easel, take it off and stand above it. That's way easier to get those smooth lines. For the sake of the video, I'm going to just try to wing this up on an easel, but it's very difficult at this angle. So stand up. That is the best way to paint, I think. So I'm going to just take some of that extra paint off. Okay, here we go. This is always scary because you're going over top of everything, and there's a commitment to that. But I'm going to get my palm frond and cut right across here, and hopefully this will work. Let's start right here and make sure it's one smooth move. Done. Oh, that's scary, I know, but that's how you got to do it. Okay, so we're going to start with the palm frond. Now I love these because they're pretty simple. Now you can do, there's again a million and one ways to do this, but I'm just going to do really simple ones. We're going to start here and we're just going to pull, pull, pull. They don't have to be perfectly spaced. So I'm just going like a little thin pull, and then I'm pushing down a little bit more, okay? Now palms do get shorter as they get closer to the end. Now I'm a little bit away from the end yet, but that's okay. There we go. Really simple, look at that. Just gonna keep getting shorter, shorter, like that. That's half of it. Look at that, half done. Now, if you want, you can flip it upside down. It would probably be the easiest, but I'm just gonna have to try to wing this. Actually, I'm gonna turn it. Try it this way. And they don't have to line up perfectly, by the way. There we go. Thicker. And that's okay if you end up with one that is a little bit of a different shape, totally fine. Again, that's real life and it's abstract, so hey. Now it's making this weird shape because I've got it twisting here, but I actually don't hate it. Look at that. Very modern. There. Thicken these guys up a little bit. Look at that. I like that. So it's very clean, very modern. Now if this is too much, if this is too big, too busy, too much, I'll show you another one. It's a little bit simpler. And I'll just come this way. Same thing, you're just gonna start with the center. I'll just do a little short one. And this one here, you're just gonna make little leaves. And these aren't perfect leaves, okay? So don't overthink them. So just pull, 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 kind of like making little footballs. Again, this is really hard on the easel. Keep it really simple. Don't have to have too many. They don't have to be perfect. There, and then if you want, you can add a little line. And if you don't, you can leave them just floating like that. I actually kind of prefer them floating. Now, if you like both, you can do a combination of this. You can clean this up. You do have the smaller brush if you want to clean up your edges here a little bit. Again, clean lines is really important, so don't be afraid to take your brush and clean up a couple little things if you want. I'm not all about perfection, so I'm okay if things aren't totally perfect. When you get to your edges, don't forget you can take and just wrap everything around. That'll give you a really cool look. And you hang it on the wall. Look at that. It's kind of a mixture of Matisse and I don't know who else. Definitely has that vibe. Well, I think I've got a good base for you here. Lots of fun ideas. I hope you have fun with this one. Again, keep it simple. Sometimes less is more. Even if you just want to do one branch or you want to do a black circle and one branch, have fun with your choices. Make it suit your home so that it's something you'll keep in your home. Thank you for painting with me again today. Look forward to seeing your work.